Liv, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I've been really looking forward to this conversation.
Me too, very excited.
Tell me, who is Liv Harland?
Liv Harland, well, a lot would kind of know me from busking, like a busker, come from the streets. Still like to go to the streets and sing in London. Just a girl that loves to sing, really, and managed to capture a couple of eyes on the way.
You have.
So.
Were you the girl that used to sing with the hairbrush as a kid?
100%.
Yeah.
In between the adverts on the X Factor and all for my family. Golden Buzzer, all that lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, I guess, what's inspired you. But so many kids, boys and girls, but so many girls will aspire to be a singer. Tell me about the journey, because busking must be hard, right? You know, and getting into the music industry is hard. But I want to know the sort of decisions you made that have got you where you are.
So I started at a acting, singing, dancing school. Dancing wasn't really for me. Acting, I'm all right, and singing, I've done that since I was quite young, and that was always what I kind of did better at school, with like the kind of drama and singing things. Never, and still really to this day, I've never had a singing lesson. So I've genuinely, I remember sitting in the class singing "One More Brick on the Wall," that song, and I remember thinking, I actually sound all right today. And then one day it just kind of like, I just thought I can sing a little bit here. And then I just ran with it, and I said, Dad, I want to get, at first I said, Dad, I want to get a mic, but in my head I wanted a mic that went out to an amplifier, like we use for busking. And he got me like a mic that connects to my laptop, and I was like, oh, I can't hear myself, like I've got to kind of record it all. And I was like, no, not for me. Like, I couldn't figure it all out. And then he bought me this small, like, cube thing, just a cheap little mic thing, probably just for a jokey karaoke. Then I took it out in Leeds, hid in an alleyway, and then started singing out this alleyway, and that was it. I just decided to do it one day.
Brilliant.
And back then it wasn't as big as it is now.
No.
Even Ed Sheeran had only really just started, like, because he was a busker, kind of doing it, so strange.
There's some things there that fascinate me. So one, there's the confidence, like you had that moment where you thought, I sound quite good. But it's great, actually, you've got to have that, right? And
I was literally 10 probably at the time.
But that's your self-belief, and then it sounds like your parents supported you as well, right?
Yeah.
So there were other people saying, yeah, you've got this, and supporting you and helping you. But to then, I'm a dad of two daughters, 13 and 15. To then go busking, there's all sorts of like alarm bells going on in my head. If I was your dad, your parents, like, there's a safety element. There's the alley, and it's like, talk to me about that, because it sounds like you made a conscious effort to go busking to kind of prove yourself and get that affirmation, I'm good at this.
Yeah. So
did you have the support of your parents?
Thinking about it now, I don't know if I even told them I was going to go do it.
I wondered that.
I was over 18 at this point when I first went busking, so it wasn't like I was too young. And I went out in the day, and I did kind of hide away. And I thought, me being hidden away, they could still hear my voice because the speaker was outside the alleyway. Turns out it was a walkway, so I kept having to move out the way anyway. But I just thought, what is there to really lose? And I feel like even now to this day, when I go and sing at live performances, it's like, well, I sing to people who don't want to listen. They're just trying to shop. And if they stop and watch, then I can do it to people who have bought a ticket to come see me, or, see me at an event. So, yeah, it's just a confidence thing. And
confidence is fascinating because it takes a lot. I've been in a position where I've done sort of commission-only door-to-door sales, which takes a certain amount of confidence. Knock on someone's door, not expecting it, and be told to F off.
Yeah.
And then ultimately putting yourself in a position out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So for the minute you started doing that, did you feel your confidence building, nothing to lose, and actually then move from the alley to much more visible, and then start getting a reaction from people?
I think it was within first 3 times of busking, I went from being hidden away to wanting to be in, like, outside Betty's in York, and that's where everyone queues and, like, they have to listen. So it didn't take too long to take the step to kind of come out and be more out in the open about it. And then obviously now, as time goes on, you think the bigger the spot and the more people, the better, really.
And you must have had people come up to you, give you feedback, and there's people that will, And you can see it, you can feel it, right? Because you're a creator in that space, so you'll stop people in their tracks. You'll have people nudge each other. Yeah. Did you feel all that? Did you get?
Yeah, sometimes you'll see people and you're trying to sing at the same time, and they're trying to read people's lips at the same time and read what they're saying about you. But I've never had any kind of like conflict with any people in the street, which I think some buskers have had. Or like the odd one's been like, oh, can you sing something happy? And I'm like, okay, well, like I like to sing like the slow, chilled songs. I'm not just going to sing Pharrell Williams happy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're singing because you want to, right?
Yeah.
And if you're singing with your passion, that's going to be coming rather than singing something that someone else wants. That's really interesting, actually. Yeah. So going from literally moving to more of a prime spot, there must have been a breakthrough moment, because ultimately sitting here now, we know what level you've got to and where you want to get to.
It was down to...
Was there a moment, was there a significant... Did someone spot you? Did something happen that allowed you to then start to flourish?
I was singing I'd been busking with my friend in Sheffield, and then she said to me that she had a wake. She was singing at a wake for a girl that had passed away, a young girl. And she said, I'm nervous, like there's a load of young people there, I'm going to go sing. Do you want to come along with me? And I was like, yeah, I do, but I was a bit nervous about singing, at a wake, and there's a lot of young people. And when we arrived, there was booming music, and I thought, no one's sad, everyone's partying. And I was like, oh, I can't do this. I can't sing Dancing in the Sky. This is this sad song that I've then released since. I said, I can't sing it. I said, I'm going to do it. And I went along with her, and my friend filmed it, and I started singing it, and it just went quiet. And then everyone was crying, and I was like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? It just was one of those moments where the moment in itself was amazing, and then it was captured on camera. And then I posted that on my social media, and that was the first kind of moment where my social media blew up. I think it got 20 million views overnight or within a few days. And everyone was just wow, that moment was so special. And then I went to then release that song, and now a lot of people listen to it for people when they've lost family members and kind of combining that song. So that would have been one of the main moments for me.
Absolutely. I mean, there's whole verification that you've got a talent there. You touched everyone's hearts in a moving scenario, which then reaches far more through social media. Talk to me about that, because from busking in a quiet alley to then moving to a more prominent position to now having millions of people that want to engage with you, want to be part of what you're doing, what's next. How do you embrace that?
Honestly, it's a journey, and I look back to last year and I think how much has changed. I remember just 1 week just went from one scale to another, and that was only last year. So every single year it's kind of elevated, and I've gone from singing in an alleyway to then singing outside a high street, and then I did Manchester, Leeds, Newcastle. I've gone on to doing London, and London's you have a ring of people around you no matter what. And social media's helped throughout. I don't know where I would have been without the social media, because I'll go out and I'll do the busking, and then I'll be like, okay, well, I'll clip that and put it into so and so many videos, and then put it out there, and you just can reach all areas of the world with it.
Yeah, the only thing that's missing with social media is I can tell you're a really present person. So when you are singing live, you're picking up on all sorts of idiosyncrasies and people's body language and so on. Put stuff out on social media, you might reach millions of people, but you're not getting that.
Yeah.
But I guess one, that's just sort of more of a statement rather than a question, but ultimately to be fulfilled with what you're doing, you'll much prefer live performance, right?
Yeah.
So because you're now filming, recording in the studio, it's going on to do that later.
Yeah.
Do you look forward to that?
Yeah.
Because there's no audience.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But you're building something that goes beyond.
Yeah, I love being in the studio and being oh, can't wait to release this. And I think it's a process of writing songs and finding out kind of the artist I want to be, and the music and because you can be all sorts. You can be a singer, but then you can be an Adele singer, or you could be a pop star where you're not really singing too much, but pop music is really in. So it's kind of do I want to just stick to what I actually want to be in this world and what music I want to bring out, or do it just for the industry? So it's on what I'll do well.
That's the creative bit, right?
Yeah.
So so Liv is basically creating music that you want to make and give out to the world, rather than someone telling you what to make. That's quite unusual, isn't it? A lot of music talent is sort of following that. We want you to do this, we want you to produce that, which probably is very stifling on creativity. Because when we were talking earlier, prior to filming, you were saying that to kind of get noticed and get people to stop and shoot, you sing a song that we're all familiar with. So you start to sing something like
cover.
that. And then I'm hearing your voice, I'm seeing
how my voice fits and what the original's like, and they think, oh, she can sing.
Yeah, and that satisfies the girl with the hairbrush singing a song. But now you're satisfying the creativity side. Are you sort of pleasantly surprised at how much you're enjoying that? Because that's a whole different thing to just singing a Whitney song. If you like, you know,
singing your own songs, and when you're singing about a certain time, I mean, the songs that are coming in the future that aren't out yet, and a lot of the stuff I have been working on is about my real life kind of relationships. So like when it comes to actually singing it out, like in front of when I go on tour, it'll be a different feeling. And having people sing your own songs back will be a different feeling. And I have done a couple of shows, and I did sell those ones in Leeds and London a couple of years ago before I really blew up, and they were singing back, you know, songs that I've released, and it was
That's raw authenticity, right? Your story is unique almost, right? You know, you from deciding what you wanted to do to making it happen to now being in control of your own creativity. Will you protect that always? So, I mean, I'm interested to know almost sort of the money side of things, about being specific. You know, busking must have been hard, right? You know, there must have been plenty of times when you, however well you sang, you get a few quid in a hat.
Yeah, and so then when the society, it all went cashless, and I just go out for content now. I don't even do it for that. I do it for the content for social media, and then hope that from that, you know, you're getting your following, and then when you release your own music, then people just believe in that. That's the plan.
That's where I was going. So Liv now, you're kind of in this great environment where you can create the music that you want. Which could make you a lot of money. What happens if a recording studio comes to you and says, Liv, we'll give you £20 million. You're killing it in 2 years' time. But we want you to do this. We want you to be the next song. Where would you sit with that?
That's the hard thing. I mean, I'm happy to be. My mum always says, are you happy? Like, if you don't make it, I'm like, let's not talk about it. Like, let's not talk about not making it, because I always know that, like, I'm just not made for the 9-to-5 job. Like, I've made it work the last couple of years, even, you know, being like with COVID and everything that happened. And I feel like there'll always be a wedding or a gig that I'll be able to do. And like, even if I had one song that I'm kind of known for, I'd be happy. I'm not stressed as to like, I have to make it, or I have to. This is where, like, if someone says, oh, you have to be this and get this, it's not necessarily all for the money. It's more like kind of to be myself, and I want to be happy in what I'm singing and what I'm portraying out there.
I feel that.
And that's what makes a person genuine, and people look up to someone that's real. And that's why I think a lot of people followed me. Is I do sing in the car as well. People love the car videos as well. But it's just like, oh, they think, oh, is she a singer, or is she just like in the car with her friends joking and singing, or is she? And when I went out busking, it was like people just love you for what's there.
What's the authenticity? I feel like they know you. I've obviously been watching and reading before we even meet today to film, and that's what you give off. It's like, that's Liv. It's exactly the same Liv that I've been seeing and so on, which again comes back to just raw authenticity. You mentioned like saying don't talk about it, and kind of the whole where you're going to go, where you're going to end up. What is your North Star? No, when you're going to make it. But then what is that? Is that a destination, or is that all part of the journey?
I think it's all a process. I think I won't truly know what I've been through and how far I've got until I'm sat on a couch at 90 years old, hopefully, and being like, oh, I did this. Because when you're in the moment, you don't realise how much you've done. I mean, I had a meeting with someone in the music industry a couple of weeks ago, and he was like, you're doing amazing, like you've done so. And I was like, sat there and I thought, oh yeah, I actually have, to be fair. Like, I haven't really thought about it. I've just been kind of, what's next? How do I continue?
You're so facing forwards, right? Caught in the moment. So what are the milestones that you would, as Liv now, like, where would you love to perform? Glastonbury? I'd
love to do all the festivals, but then starting from the bottom, like doing the tents where like people don't know who you are. I love all that stuff. Like I don't, because as I say, I've done the streets, so I wouldn't mind being in a tent when no one's really interested, because
there's no ego there.
It's a process, and trust the process. You know, any kind of big stage. I'd love to do the arenas. Like I love going to concerts. I'm a big fan of Billie Eilish and watching all her arena tours and that Jingle Bell Ball, things like that, Summertime Ball, all those things. I'd love it. And I was there backstage with a friend that I knew was performing, and I was just like, this is crazy. I just walked past Alicia Keys in the hall, and I actually sang to her, which was a bit of a wild moment. And she turned around and was like, go girl. And then she remembered me when she got off stage. That was a bit of a weird moment, because I used to listen to her music when I was 10, 11 years old.
That shows where you're elevating all the time. It's good you have that perspective and other people sort of grounding you or giving you that whole acknowledgement, because I mentioned that destination against journey. You can be so just facing forward, you don't actually get that acknowledgement. And in terms, that's almost like mental health, right?
Yeah.
You've been really open about kind of mental health and context of just, again, being raw and authentic. What do you do to kind of almost deliberately practice keeping mentally fit and physically fit? Because, you know, that they go hand in hand. And how do you make time for it? Yeah,
I feel like every day. I feel like when I first get up, make your bed, and I always like a little bit of a routine as to, because every day is different for me. There'll be days where I'm quieter, and there'll be days where I'm in the studio 4 days in a row. And it's getting that balance. Get up, make my bed, have my coffee, and then I'll probably sit and make some notes of some songs that I'm going to be going into, and then work on social media and kind of trying to have my own plan, because I'm not the most organised, if I'm honest, and I'm here, there, and everywhere within my brain and actually day to day. So just having a little bit of a routine and having little small goals, even just for the week and for the month, and where you want to be, and that seems to be. Do
you write them down?
No, in my brain I do.
Spinning them
and then I remember them randomly. I'm going to start using my calendar, because I only remember holidays. That's the only thing I remember. That's the only day I'm like, I need to be there. I need to be at the airport. But
you can count down to those because you're busy, right? So actually having little breaks, the holidays. That's also part of kind of what I asked, right? You can.
But then I'll go on holiday.
Gangbusters and.
Yeah, but then I'll go on holiday and I will get off. Well, I say get off. I went on a cruise and then I got off the cruise and I sang on a busker's mic in a different country, and then that was another moment that blew up, and I got off and I posted that, and that was the Ocean song that I did, the Spirit Lead Me song. Yeah. And that just changed a lot. That changed a lot. That was a year ago.
And when you keep doing that, that's a part of you, right? So you'll just, and the inspiration may come to you in the morning, or you'll build up to it, but that's always part of your plan. You just want to be able to just put out there your songs. Yeah. There's a lot of people that will have been following your journey, learning about you for the first time now, watching, listening, that will be really aspirational. It could be young girls, could be people that have just always loved singing and listening to singing. Oh my God, you know, what a great journey, aspirationally. What advice would you give them? Because there is a lot of maturity and perspective, despite your young years and despite where you want to get to. And, you know, there may be things that for whatever reason, you know, just really helped you and worked for you that you could pass on.
I would just say stick to it, even if it is a hard day. Like, as I say, back in the day, if the weather was bad or, you know, it's quieter in town, stick to it. Keep a structure and a schedule. I say that, I'm not the best at doing that, but stick to it, and there will be harder days and there'll be better days. And as regards to getting out there, social media, I would say is a great way to start your platform and what you want to put out, and I think that's helped in abundance.
So going back to confidence, and my two daughters and kind of girls growing up in particular, that fear of judgment, fear of being bullied. Where have you sat with that? Because for me, it feels like your passion's overtaken and overflowed anything. Because ultimately, you'd be more worried about the regret of not going out there. How much thought did you give that? And almost a sort of an advice question to a girl that would love looking at what you're doing, but going, I'm not doing that. Yeah, I'm too scared.
So I feel like the positives always outweigh the negatives, and that's a ratio within comments. I'll get 1,000 comments that are nice, and then I get 100 that are like not nice, but just like, oh, she's not really singing here, or like something like that. And I feel like the positive side of it just outweighs it. And there's always, no matter what you do, there's always going to be someone that's not your biggest fan. Like you can't expect,
please everyone.
Yeah, you can't please everyone, and that's with anything. People don't like a certain food, but someone else will be raving over it. Like you can't be everyone's cup of tea. And as long as you're authentic to yourself and you're putting out what you want, you believe in yourself, I feel like you'll be fine.
There's an element of taking those steps. So like you mentioned, like the quiet alley.
Yeah.
And now you're doing
taking
it,
the
and nothing happened. Nothing really sort of, and then you went to.
It's a process.
Yeah, and that confidence, that resilience that you're building, and anything that then potentially might go wrong, you've sort of overridden any
with
fears,
passion
and then you just
yeah.
One of the things that is clear is you've got a lovely drive and ambition that's measured without kind of ego or arrogance, but you've achieved a lot of success. Sitting here now, what is your definition of success?
Oh, that's a big question. I think it's not down to how well or the stats or, you know, you mentioned about like releasing an album and it not doing as well and being like, oh, I really believed in that. But it's not just down to the numbers. It's bringing out something that you believe in. And you'd be like, I successfully think that was 100%, I put my all into it. Not down to thinking how other people look at what you're bringing out, if that makes sense.
100% does.
So for me, what is being successful is just being true to yourself and taking every little step of positivity. And you know, if I sat down the other week and someone was like, "You're doing really well," and I was like, "Oh, thanks." Like looking at those little moments and holding on to all of those. And as long as you're happy, I feel like being successful is down to being happy, really.
So it's a mindset.
Mindset.
I love that. So you could have answered in so many different ways, right? I know how ambitious you are. You could have said it's being on a stage in front of X amount of people at Glastonbury.
Yeah.
I've made it. It's not.
No. I mean, there will be a I made it moment, and I hope.
What would that be? Because you don't know what it is. That's a silly question. But
I feel like
in your mind now? What do you think?
I'm thinking my made it moment would be. I'm going to clip this in when I've made it. Is being in an arena and everyone just having the torches out, singing your song back, and just selling out and seeing. It comes down to live performance and seeing it, not just like, oh, I've hit 10 million streams on this, or 100 million. Live being in an arena with people and seeing it all.
Because even that vibe.
Even like, I don't know, Wembley, how many seats are in there? Is it 90,000 in Wembley?
I'm not sure.
I think it's around about that. And then if I got 90,000 views on a video, I'd be like, oh, it's all right. But then if it gets 1 million, I'm like, yeah, that's great. But if you think of how many actual people are in Wembley, times that by 10, like the amount of stats and numbers that I've actually heard and seen, my music is, it's wild. But it'll be in an in-person kind of moment.
I want to be there for that. Yeah. You'll have to remember this conversation, because you're going to get there. Yeah. Right? If you look at how you've grafted, and it must have been, I haven't really covered that actually. Yeah. Like there might be some people a lot of people might have been watching you from the beginning, and how much of that was visible? Probably not, because you weren't putting that out. Yeah. You know, has it been a massive slog? You know, has it been a constant? I've got to keep putting myself out there. Yeah, I have. For me, I mean, I have moments where I'll kind of, if I don't have the content that I believe's the best to put out there now, and that would be the one thing I'd think and say is the pressure of keeping up the social media. Like you'll have a song that'll do really well, and then you have so many videos for it, and you think, okay, well, there has to be the next, and it's the next, and it's keeping it up. And it's all good and well having a big moment, which, you know, I've had, but then it's like, okay, we'll have to chase that and get that moment again. And that would be the only kind of graft and thing I'd say is trying to get that feeling and chase that again would be the graft. Like, and you can't fake that. You can't like just get that moment again. Like it'll happen naturally. And just staying authentic on social media whilst still trying to build behind the scenes. Yes. Like I haven't released a song in a year, and I haven't done any live performances really in a year, but yet that year I've gained 2 million followers. So it's kind of like, okay, well, what's going to happen next year when I am ready with the music and
you know, hopefully people going on tour. Like, is anyone still bothered?
You're layering platforms, so staying relevant, right?
Yeah, staying relevant.
Yeah, but I think that's the authenticity bit, right?
Yeah.
People are following you and watching what you're doing, and they're enjoying your journey, and that's probably the other key part. You are on a journey.
Yeah.
I think everyone would feel that. I've been swept up into that. Hence me saying I want to be there when all the torches are on, and there's a whole tingle, and there's almost an acknowledgement of you going, "This is what the girl with the microphone wanted." You're amazing to talk with, and I can't wait to see what the rest of your journey ultimately is. But I know how busy you are. You're recording this afternoon.
Yeah, in the studio all week, so working on some cool stuff. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, you're an inspiration. Thank you for making time to come and talk with me.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.